welcome to another Fight of the Night review. Now this one was at the UFC Apex Center in front of no fans, and I'm still very mad about that. If you watched my last few Fight of the Night reviews, I still don't like that that's the thing. I think they should have fans on the fight nights, on UFC, on ESPN, but we're here to talk about the Fight of the Night for this one, which is a main card bout. Not the main event, which I thought it would be, between Chan Sung Jung and Dan Ige, but a main card scrap between Davey Grant and Marlon Vera. So, as always, it's up to me to go down it round by round, try and remember what I can, and tell you what I thought of the fight. So, also this is a rematch because they previously fought 5 years ago, and Davey Grant won. So, yeah, without further ado, we'll get to this fight now. So the fight starts and it is sort of a feeling out process for a little bit, but Davey is for the majority of this round, he's not giving any craps. He's opening a lot with some really good strikes. He's going to the body a lot and following that up with a vicious left hook to the head, which is the reason why he's been so successful lately. I mean, the last two fights before this were knockout finishes, and he got Performance of the Night for both of those, so that's the reason he would want to do that again. He's throwing a lot of really good spinning techniques as well. There's a good spinning back kick he lands at some point. He's just focusing very much on the combos. He is eating a couple of leg kicks though, but he's mixing it well to the body, the leg, and the head himself. And Marlon is he does get a good couple of moments in. He does land some really good counter strikes at a couple of points, mostly to the leg. His leg kick is there a lot. There is a moment where he does have Davey against a cage in a clinch situation and lands a vicious knee that does sort of open a cut, sort of on the inside of the bridge of the nose, right by the right eye of Davey. And there's even a point where Davey throws a body kick, which Marlon catches and sort of turns it into sort of a takedown. It's more that Davey jumps and tries to pull guard. But the fact is Marlon is on top in this brief ground exchange, and there is some good rolling around on the ground, but no major submissions are attempted, really. Not until later in the fight anyway, which I'll get to. But yeah, round one, fairly close, but Davey did steal it for me. I think his punching combinations were a lot better. He put them together really well. Still, he had a lot of nasty leg kicks, but his punches were just there all day for him. So yeah, I give round one to Dangerous Davey. Round two was kind of the same at first. Davey is landing a lot of really good strikes. Again, going for that body hook combo that he's been landing quite well. He does start to slip up a bit more though, and eventually during an exchange, Marlon lands just a forward elbow like that, and lands about 5 of them in a row and opens a nasty bloody cut right over here on Dave's forehead, and Dave is leaking so badly with the blood that was in his brain, and now it's not anymore, because it was cut open by an elbow. So his brain wasn't cut open by an elbow. I hope it wasn't anyway. But yeah, Marlon cut him open with that and started taking a bit more advantage. He starts landing a good couple of punch combos on his own. He does have Davey against the cage at some point, and he tries to get a takedown, but Davey actually turns the body and gets it on him instead. And there's a lot of really good groundwork here. But Marlon, even though Davey's on top, Marlon is threatening with some really good submission attempts. There's a triangle right at the gate. He sort of tries to turn into an omoplata when Davey rolls over, and eventually tries to get a side triangle too. But Davey, he wall walks and sort of flips back and tries to turn it into a guillotine, which actually looks quite good, but Marlon gets the better of it, and he manages to escape, and they're both on their feet again. And Davey is a lot more wobbly, not just from the cuts to the head and the blood leaking out of his head, but also, he's eaten a lot of leg kicks to this point too, and Marlon is getting a bit more confident in his striking, and it doesn't take long until the round is over. In round two, a lot closer to call, I think. I would give it slightly in favour of Vera, maybe, because, he landed a few more strikes, he started opening up a lot more, and, his submission game especially was good. Much like in round one, how he got a takedown but didn't really win round one, Davey did get a takedown in round two, but I don't think he won round two. It was close. It's probably the closest round of the whole fight. But yeah, I think Marlon walks away with round two by a pinch. It is very close. And finally we reach round three, and yeah, much like how Marlon started taking a bit more control in round two, in the round three he's definitely in a lot more control. He's countering a lot more of Davey's shots. He's landing a lot heavier. Davey's still landing some good ones in, but round three is very much mostly a ground game. There's a lot of really great groundwork between these two. Marlon I think it actually starts because Davey is a bit desperate by this point, and he goes for a takedown, but Marlon gets a good reversal, and he sort of, because he's against the cage, it's easier for him to try and mount Davey, and he is going for all sorts of submissions. The rear naked choke appears to be a favourite of his, and he's going for that quite a lot. Much like in round 2, near the end of round 2, he lands a good ground and pound. He lands a fair bit of it on Davey in round 3 as well. He's in a lot better control on the ground. They do eventually sort of get up, I think, at some point, but Marlon is able to take back to the ground again. And there's a great moment with like 30 seconds left in this round, and I'm sorry I haven't done the best job of explaining this round, so I'll try to now. Really good strikes from Davey. It's just mostly a ground round, to be honest, but yeah, Marlon attacks with some really good submissions. There's a great moment where he tries to get an arm triangle but doesn't fully sink it in. So he takes the top mount and goes for a sort of a guillotine, in a way. But then he turns that into the rear naked choke near the end of the round, near the end of the fight. And he has the body scissors locked in, like he's got the fucking seatbelt in. And he's squeezing tightly, but Davey's able to get a hand free. There is a point where I saw his Davey's right hand move, and I thought he was about to step, but he held on, and he managed to get out of it. And despite getting out of it, Marlon was still on top and landing a lot of good ground pound. And eventually, yeah, the round would eventually end. And it was a good fight, so let's go to what happened. And now that we have better lighting, I can tell you. So, yeah, Marlon Vera won by unanimous decision. I think it's probably a sort of more of a distant split decision, because they definitely gave round 1 to Davey. But it was a close fight all in all. And you know, props to these two for having a really good rematch, and I hope they have a third at some point, because they're one apiece. They've got to settle it at some point. But Davey Grant absolutely looked great, well, until the end of the fight when he was busted open and bloodied open, and really badly hurt. But yeah, it's just a really solid 3-round affair. Is it going to be in my top 10? I don't know. It is in the maybe pile, but I think there's just too many moments of, like, it's not the closest fight as a fight of the night. I mean, Davey has the majority of round 1, Marlon has the majority of round 3, and it's very back and forth round 2. I wish it was more like very back and forth across all 3 rounds to define a bit better, you know? But it was still a good fight, and I recommend you seek it out. So it's in the maybe pile for my favourites of the year. It's not as good as Dober versus Rydell last week. No, not nearly as good as that. But I still really enjoyed it, so if you're interested in trying to find it for yourself, I recommend doing so. And that'll about do it for this review. I will see you probably tomorrow for more Music of the Week if I can get the grades done in time. And then after that, a very brief history of Andrew WK. On Tuesday night, PPW versus AVW. I've got to set up the card for that yet. And also, if I can get the very brief history video done, I'll probably get the full backtracking episode of Andrew WK done. So yeah, wish me luck, and I hope you like this video, and as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.